Hello, everyone. This is Dan Gramza, and welcome to dangramza.com Market Studies for Monday, July 20th. What we see here in the S&P is a market that's struggling. Geopolitical events, we had some sell-off in the tech stocks that's all fueled this downward movement. Look for an inside day on Monday. Dollar difference, if you're not familiar with these videos, these are daily charts, candle format. A swing trade is the concept where you're trying to capture a bit of the volatility of these moves. If you go to dangramza.com, you can follow these for the last 10 years and you would see how these lines have changed. The sell is red, the green is buy. The dash line means it's something that happened earlier in the week. So the dollar difference here between the buy to sell level, as an example, to give you that reference, is $600 a contract. Let's move on, and we see that in the NASDAQ market, continued weaker. It's a bouncy close. Be careful if you're on the short side in that market. $2,850 is the dollar difference in that market. Over in the Dow, we also see some weakness, and again, slowing down, where we see what I call consistency of behavior. $1,195 is that dollar difference. Over in the Russell, the small to mid-cap stocks, this implies a sideways move. It's not a strong bias up or down, so be careful. That $800 is that dollar difference. In the euro, what we see is the euro is getting weaker as the US dollar is getting stronger. Dollar difference here in that market is 900. No, it's not. It's $700 a contract. When we look at the Swissy, same boat. This is a sideways move, wants to go higher, but the paper's just not there to support it. $550 is the dollar difference there. And the difference between that buy to sell level, just to give you a reference, is $737.50. Well, when we look at Mr. Yen, it is cheap and it stays in this level. Everyone's expecting central bank intervention. So far, we just haven't seen their footprints. So it's a fascinating market. I'd be very cautious on the short side. The Aussie dollar, also a market that wants to go higher. Difference buy to sell level, $580 a contract. The British pound's in the same boat. Again, in terms of getting low enough to find buyers. Monday will be very important for that market. $543.75 is that difference. And Canadian dollars, they continue to grind along, and we do look to see for follow through. This is the strongest out of those currencies that we just went through, but strength, that's not what we're seeing here in Bitcoin. A market that's continuing to struggle. You can see there were a number of opportunities in this market. Again, I'd suggest you just go to dangramza.com and you can see that dollar difference. The buy to sell level in that market is $3,600 a contract. When we look at the 10-year notes, they're struggling. Yields increased, prices backed off. That's what we're seeing here. $218.75 is that difference. And if you look at bonds, it's in the same boat. We have that neutral zone type trade environment. $187.50 is that dollar difference. Gold yield has an impact here on those 10-year notes. They'll have an impact here on gold. It's gotten cheap enough to find buyers, but do we get follow through? And that's what you want to see Sunday night, 5 o'clock Chicago time, follow through to the upside. That'll be the Asia session. Dollar difference here is $2,700 a contract. In silver, also slowing down, possibility of an up move. Copper, well, the demand is there, but we haven't seen it follow through in this market, and we have the potential structure for that. So if you're on the short side, be careful as the next week begins. This difference is $2,250 a contract. While crude oil is firming up a bit with the geopolitical events we're having in the Middle East, that's not surprising, but I'm not looking for a really big week up unless we get something new to stimulate that. Nat gas slowing down. We have a lot of it. That's really what we're seeing here. The dollar difference there is $400 a contract. Soybeans, watch the soybeans, corn, and the wheat markets because we've got weather conditions that can really fuel these markets to the upside. So I'm bullish on these markets. Let's see if these buyers can get the job done. Oh, dollar difference here in that market is $1,100 a contract. And I'm sorry, that was the difference here. This difference to give you, well, it's also $1,100 a contract. Well, those are my thoughts for today. Thank you for joining me. Looking forward to being with you again. And as always, take care.